That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome back to another episode of Fun Friday with me, Mr. Martin. And today we are going to be making some homemade pasta. Now there are two options in terms of what you might need if we're going to make this. If you have one of these, which is a pasta maker, you can follow exactly what I'm going to do here. If you don't have one of these, however, you can still make homemade pasta at home, and I will explain how you can do that as we go along. But if you do have a pasta maker, the first thing you're going to need to do is make sure that you have it over a surface so that you're not getting homemade pasta over everything, and also to make sure that you have it clamped down onto your surface so that when you start cranking like this, it's not going to start bouncing up and down, which is what I discovered the first time I did try to do it without the clamp. So make sure you've got that nice and secure onto your surface. With my pasta maker here, there are a few things to just look over. First of all, you have this area here, which is used to flatten the dough. And then we have two areas here, one to make tagliatelle, one to make linguine. Today, we're going to make tagliatelle. Of course, if you are not using a pasta maker, then the thickness of your pasta is entirely up to you, because you'll be slicing that either with a knife or a pair of scissors. So, in terms of equipment, what do we need? Well, we need some scales. I've got some electric scales here that my class got me last year, and they are fantastic because not only do they have the ability to weigh things, but they also have some measurement conversions on here as well, which is also always really, really useful. You're also going to need a bowl. You're going to need a surface to roll out some dough. You're going to need some sort of utensil to stir that around in your bowl. And I also have a mug here just to put my eggshells in. So, on to ingredients. For homemade pasta, you don't need a lot at all. I was actually really surprised at how simple it is. I thought you might need some special flour, and you can buy pasta flour, but actually you only really need plain flour. So, we've got plain flour, and we have eggs. In terms of how much we need, for every person that you're cooking for, you want 100 grams of flour and you want 1 egg. So, really, really straightforward, quite simple. Today I'm just going to make enough for one person, so I'm going to use 100 grams of flour and 1 egg. Now that you have your flour and your egg in your bowl, it's time to just mix that together. Now, as you're doing this, it's going to resemble breadcrumbs. And you might be thinking, well, how is this going to turn into pasta? It's clearly too dry, but don't worry, we'll get there. Once you've mixed it around so that that egg is completely absorbed into that flour, we're going to put that onto our surface. So pour that out, and you are going to use your hands, after you've washed them, of course, and you are going to just knead this dough and try and turn it into a ball. And there we have our ball. Now, as you can see, there's still a few crumbs there, and that's absolutely fine. As long as you have a nice ball of dough like this, that's all you need. Next, we need to get some cling film. So, take your cling film, just rip yourself off a piece so that you can wrap this ball of dough into the cling film. So, I'm just going to take a piece like that, rip that off there, and we are going to wrap this around our dough ball like that. So now you just take your cling filmed ball of dough and put it in the fridge for about half an hour. So you're going to get yourself a rolling pin, and then you're just going to start rolling this into a sort of rectangular shape. If you're using a pasta maker, then you need to be mindful that it's not wider than the actual width of the pasta maker itself. And if you're not using a pasta maker, then you don't really need to worry about that too much. So let's just start rolling out our dough, as I say, into a sort of rectangular shape. I'm going to do it lengthways and widthways. And if this ends up like mine, not necessarily being the best sort of rectangle, that's absolutely fine. You can just use your hands to push that into the right shape. And ultimately, in the end, it's not going to make that much of a difference. So you want to keep on doing that until you've rolled it out to about the length of the rolling pin itself, as you can see here. Now if you have a pasta maker, this is where we're going to transfer it over to this, If you don't have a pasta maker, you just want to keep rolling it out like that, and you're going to have it quite long. If you need to cut it in half or even half and half again, that's absolutely fine. You're just going to keep rolling it and rolling it until it's very, very thin. But if you are joining me over here onto the pasta maker, then what you want to do to start with is over here on this side of our pasta maker we have a little dial here, and you can turn that to make the stretcher here wider or smaller. And to start with, we want it to be on its widest setting, which on this is number 1. You are going to take your dough, you're going to put it over the top there, and you're just going to start cranking, and it's going to slowly go through and come out the bottom, and you might need to just feed that through a little bit. And it's okay if it doesn't go in absolutely perfect. It's even okay if it breaks, because at the end of the day, that's absolutely fine. Now you can see this is getting quite long. So what I am going to do, because it is starting to fall apart here in the middle, I'm just going to split that into 2 pieces. So we have 2 slightly smaller pieces. Once you put that through once, you are going to turn it into about a medium level, so about 4 or 5. And again, if you're just using your rolling pin, you want to just keep rolling that so it gets flatter and flatter. And you might need to give that quite a little bit of pressure. So again, we're going to put this through here. I'm going to slowly roll it through and pull it out the other side. And then we're going to put it through one more time on its highest setting. In this case it's 9 on mine, so it's going to make it as flat as possible. So let's put this through there, through there. And now we've got 2 very, very long pieces. And you see, if I hadn't cut this in half, it would be as long as this kitchen island. Hopefully, if you aren't using your pasta maker by now, you've stretched this out and pressed it out with your rolling pin to be as thin as possible. If you need to pause the video to do that, then feel free. And now, what we're going to do is we're going to put this through here. Now, if you don't have a pasta maker, at this point, all you need to do is take a knife or some scissors, and you're just going to cut strips of pasta out from your dough. So we're going to take this and we're going to put it over here, and sometimes in my experience this takes a while to take it. Hopefully, as we are there, it's just going to put that through. And as you can see, the pasta starts coming out the other end. I'm just going to grab myself a pot so I can put that in the pot there, ready to go onto the hob. And there you have it. You've just made homemade pasta. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at that steam. It is absolutely delicious and didn't take very long at all to make. I think a nice, easy recipe that you could do at home for yourself or for your family. Very good. So that's it from me this week. I'll see you next time. Bye.